Figure of speech. 12 languages. A figure of speech or rhetorical figure is a word or phrase that intentionally deviates from straightforward language use or literal meaning to produce a rhetorical or intensified effect. Emotionally, aesthetically, intellectually, etc. 1. 2. In the distinction between literal and figurative language, figures of speech constitute the latter. Figures of speech are traditionally classified into schemes, which vary the ordinary sequence of words, and tropes, where words carry a meaning other than what they ordinarily signify. An example of a scheme is a polysyndeton, the repetition of a conjunction before every element in a list, whereas the conjunction typically would appear only before the last element, as in lions and tigers and bears, oh my, emphasizing the danger and number of animals more than the prosaic wording with only the second and. An example of a trope is the metaphor, describing one thing as something it clearly is not, as a way to illustrate by comparison, as in all the world's a stage. For rhetorical operations, edit. Main article, rhetorical operations. Classical rhetoricians classified figures of speech into 4 categories or quadripedal ratio, 3. Addition, addiction, also called repetition/expansion/superabundance. Omission, detractio, also called subtraction/abridgment/lack. Transposition, transmutatio, also called transferring. Permutation, immutatio, also called switching/interchange/substitution/transmutation. These categories are often still used. The earliest known text listing them, though not explicitly as a system, is the Rhetorica ad Hernium, of unknown authorship, where they are called pleonasmos, addition, endia, omission, metathesis, transposition, and enillage, permutation. 4. Quintilian then mentioned them in Institutio Oratoria. 5. Philo of Alexandria also listed them as addition, prosthesis, subtraction, apheresis, transposition, metathesis, and transmutation, aloiosis. 6. Examples, edit. Figures of speech come in many varieties. 7. The aim is to use the language imaginatively to accentuate the effect of what is being said. A few examples follow. Round and round the rugged rocks the ragged rascal ran is an example of alliteration, where the consonant R is used repeatedly. Sister Suze's sewing socks for soldiers is a particular form. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. The cartoon is a pun on the word Jamaica, whose pronunciation, Demike, is a homonym to the clipped form of did. You make her. Whitehall is a road in the city of Westminster, London used synodically to refer to the entire UK civil service, as many government departments are nearby. Of alliteration called sibilance, repeating an S sound. Both are commonly used in poetry. She would run up the stairs and then a new set of curtains is a variety of schma called a sylepsis. Run up can refer either to a quick ascent or to manufacture. The effect is enhanced by the momentary suggestion, through a pun, that she might be climbing the curtains. The ellipsis or omission of the second use of the verb makes the reader think harder about what is being said. Painful pride is an oxymoron, where two contradictory ideas are placed in the same sentence. I had butterflies in my stomach is a metaphor. referring to a nervous feeling as if there were flying insects in one's stomach. To say it was like having some butterflies in my stomach is a simile, because it uses the word like, which a metaphor does not. To say it was like having a butterfly farm in my stomach, it felt like a butterfly farm in my stomach, or I was so nervous that I had a butterfly farm in my stomach could be a hyperbole, because it is exaggerated. That filthy place was really dirty is an example of tautology, as there are the two words, filthy and dirty, having almost the same meaning and are repeated so as to make the text more emphatic. Types, edit. Scholars of classical Western rhetoric have divided figures of speech into two main categories, schemes and tropes. Schemes, from the Greek schema, form or shape, are figures of speech that change the ordinary or expected pattern of words. For example, the phrase, John, my best friend uses the scheme known as apposition. Tropes, from Greek tropin, to turn, change the general meaning of words. An example of a trope is irony, which is the use of words to convey the opposite of their usual meaning, for Brutus is an honorable man, /so. Are they all honorable men? Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. During the Renaissance, scholars meticulously enumerated and classified figures of speech. Henry Peacham, for example, in his The Garden of Eloquence, 1577, enumerated 184 different figures of speech. Professor Robert D. Ianni, in his book Literature, Reading Fiction, Poetry, Drama and the Essay, 8, wrote, rhetoricians have catalogued more than 250 different figures of speech. Expressions or ways of using words in a non-literal sense. For simplicity, this article divides the figures between schemes and tropes, but does not further classify them, for example, figures of disorder. Within each category, words are listed alphabetically. Most entries link to a page that provides greater detail and relevant examples, but a short definition is placed here for convenience. Some of those listed may be considered rhetorical devices, which are similar in many ways. Schemes, edit. Schemes are words or phrases whose syntax, sequence, or pattern occurs in a manner that varies from an ordinary usage. Accumulatio, restating, through accumulation, already said arguments in a concise and forceful manner. Alliteration, the occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely connected words. Example, she sells seashells by the seashore. Anadiplosis, repetition of a word at the end of a clause and then at the beginning of its succeeding clause. Anaphora, the repetition of a word or phrase at the beginning of successive clauses. Anastrophe, changing the object, subject and verb order in a clause. Anticlimax, an abrupt descent, either deliberate or unintended, on the part of a speaker or writer from the strong conclusion that appeared imminent. Example, people, pets, batteries, all are dead. Antimetabole, a sentence consisting of the repetition of words in successive clauses, but in reverse order. Antithesis, juxtaposition of opposing or contrasting ideas in separate clauses. Aphorismus, statement that calls into question if a word or phrase is properly used to characterize a subject. Aposioposis, breaking off or pausing speech for dramatic or emotional effect, often through the use of dashes or ellipses. Assonance, repetition of vowel sounds, smooth move, or please leave, or that's the fact. Jack. Asyndeton, omission of conjunctions between related clauses. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. Geosmus, two or more clauses related to each other through a reversal of structures in order to make a larger point. Subordinate class to antimetabole. Climax, arrangement of words in an ascending order. Consonants, repetition of consonant sounds, most commonly within a short passage of verse. Correlative verse, matching items in two sequences. Diacope, repetition of a word or phrase with one or two intervening words. Elision, omission of one or more letters in speech, making it colloquial. Enillage, wording ignoring grammatical rules or conventions. Epanalepsis, ending sentences with their beginning. Epiphrase, one or more sentences, typically of the author's understanding / expression of the issue, added to the end of a completed sentence. Epistrophe, also known as antistrophe, repetition of the same word or group of words at the end of successive clauses. The counterpart of anaphora. Epiteuxis, repetition of a single word, with no other intervening words. Hendiadys, use of two nouns to express an idea when it normally would consist of an adjective and a noun. Hendiatris, use of three nouns to express one idea. Homeotluton, words with the same ending. Hyperlage, a transferred epithet from a conventional choice of wording. 9. Hyperbaton, two ordinary associated words are detached. 10. 11. The term is also used more generally for any figure of speech that transposes natural word order. 11. Hyposeuxis, every clause having its own independent subject and predicate. Hysteron proteron, the inversion of the usual temporal or causal order between two elements. Isocolon, use of parallel structures of the same length in successive clauses. Internal rhyme, using two or more rhyming words in the same sentence. Litotes, an understatement achieved by negating the opposite statement, such as not too bad for very good, or she is not a beauty queen for she is ugly, yielding an ironical effect. Onomatopoeia, word that imitates a real sound, for example tick-tock or boom. Paradiastole, repetition of the disjunctive pair neither and nor. Parallelism, the use of similar structures in two or more clauses. Paraprostokion, an utterance that uses the same word with two different meanings, creating a pun. Paroemion, alliteration in which nearly every word in a sentence or phrase begins with the same letter. Polyptoton, repetition of words derived from the same root. Polysyndeton, close repetition of conjunctions. Sibilance, repetition of letter S, it is a form of consonants. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. Spoonerism, switching places of syllables within two words in a sentence yielding amusement. Syncope, omission of parts of a word or phrase. Simplus, simultaneous use of anaphora and epistrophe, the repetition of the same word or group of words at the beginning and the end of successive clauses. Syncheses, words that are intentionally scattered to create perplexment. Synodogy, referring to a part by its whole or vice versa. Synonymia, use of two or more synonyms in the same clause or sentence. Tautology, redundancy due to superfluous qualification, saying the same thing twice. Misses, insertions of content within a compound word. Tricolorn diminuans, combination of three elements, each decreasing in size. Tricolorn crescens, combination of three elements, each increasing in size. Zgmo, the using of one verb for two or more actions. Tropes, edit. Tropes are words or phrases whose contextual meaning differs from the manner or sense in which they are ordinarily used. Axismus, expressing the want of something by denying it. 12. Adinaton, an extreme form of hyperbole, exaggeration. It the opposite of understatement. Allegory, a metaphoric narrative in which the literal elements indirectly reveal a parallel story of symbolic or abstract significance. 13, 14, 15. Allusion, covert reference to another work of literature or art. Anachoenosis, posing a question to an audience, often with the implication that it shares a common interest with the speaker. Analogy, a comparison between two things, typically for the purpose of explanation or clarification. Anapodoton, leaving a common known saying unfinished. Antonoclasis, a form of pun in which a word is repeated in two different senses. 16. Anthymeria, transformation of a word of a certain word class to another word class, such as a noun for a verb and vice versa. 17. Anthropomorphism, ascribing human characteristics to something that is not human, such as an animal or a god, see zoomorphism. Antiphrasis, a name or a phrase used ironically such that it is obvious of what the true intention is, see verbal irony. Antonomasia, substitution of a proper name for a phrase or vice versa. Aphorism, briefly phrased, easily memorable statement of a truth or opinion, an adage. Aporia, faked or sincere puzzled questioning. Apophasis, invoking an idea by denying its invocation, also known as occupatio or paralypsis. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. Apostrophe, when an actor or speaker addresses an absent third party, often a personified abstraction or inanimate object. Bathos, pompous speech with a ludicrously mundane worded anticlimax. Catachresis, blatant misuse of words or phrases. Cliché, overused phrase or theme. Dysphemism, substitution of a harsher, more offensive, or more disagreeable term for another. Opposite of euphemism. Ekphrasis, lively describing something you see, often a painting. Epinorthosis, immediate and emphatic self-correction, often following a slip of the tongue. Euphemism, substitution of a less offensive or more agreeable term for another. Hyperbole, use of exaggerated terms for emphasis. Hypercatastasis, an implication or declaration of resemblance that does not directly name both terms. Hypophora, answering one's own rhetorical question at length. Illism, the act of referring to oneself in the third person instead of first person. Innuendo, having a hidden meaning in a sentence that makes sense whether it is detected or not. Irony, use of word in a way that conveys a meaning opposite to its usual meaning. 18. Kenning, using a compound word neologism to form a metonym. Litotes, emphasizing the magnitude of a statement by denying its opposite. Malapropism, using a word through confusion with a word that sounds similar. Meiosis, use of understatement, usually to diminish the importance of something. Merism, type of synodogy referring to two or more contrasting parts to describe its whole. Metalepsis, figurative speech is used in a new context. Metaphor, an implied comparison between two things, attributing the properties of one thing to another that it does not literally possess. 19. Metonymy, a thing or concept is called not by its own name but rather by the name of something associated in meaning with that thing or concept. Nosism, the practice of using the pronoun we to refer to oneself when expressing a personal opinion. Non sequitur, statement that bears no relationship to the context preceding. Onomatopoeia, words that sound like their meaning. Oxymoron, using two terms together, that normally contradict each other. Parable, extended metaphor told as an anecdote to illustrate or teach a moral lesson. Paradiastole, extenuating a vice in order to flatter or soothe. Paradox, use of apparently contradictory ideas to point out some underlying truth. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. Paraprostokion, phrase in which the latter part causes a rethinking or reframing of the beginning. Parody, humoristic imitation. Paronomasia, pun in which similar-sounding words but words having a different meaning are used. Pathetic fallacy, ascribing human conduct and feelings to nature. Personification, attributing or applying human qualities to inanimate objects, animals, or natural phenomena. Pleonasm, the use of more words than is necessary for clear expression. Procatalepsis, refuting anticipated objections as part of the main argument. Proslepsis, extreme form of paralepsis in which the speaker provides great detail while feigning to pass over a topic. Proverb, succinct or pithy, often metaphorical, expression of wisdom commonly believed true. Pun, play on words that has two meanings. Rhetorical question, asking a question as a way of asserting something. Asking a question that already has the answer hidden in it, or asking a question not to get an answer, but to assert something, or to create a poetic effect. Satire, humoristic criticism of society. Sesquipedalianism, use of long and obscure words. Simile, comparison between two things using like or as. Snowclone, alteration of cliché or phrasal template. Synlepsis, the use of a word in its figurative and literal sense at the same time or a single word. Used in relation to two other parts of a sentence although the word grammatically or logically applies to only one. Synodogy, form of metonymy, referring to a part by its whole, or a whole by its part. Synesthesia, description of one kind of sense impression by using words that normally describe another. Tautology, superfluous repetition of the same sense in different words. Example, the children gathered in a round circle. Zgmo, use of a single verb to describe two or more actions. Zoomorphism, applying animal characteristics to humans or gods. See also, edit. Idiom. List of forms of word play. Repetition, rhetorical device. Rhetorical device. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. Stylistic device. References, edit. Citations, edit. 1 March, Emmanuel Dell, 1842. A Grammar of the English Language. In a series of familiar lectures. etc. Archived from the original on 8 May, 2016. Retrieved 2 December, 2015. 2 Figure of speech. Dictionary.com unabridged, online. ND. 3 Jansen, Joen, 2008. Imitatio archived 14 July 2015 at the Wayback Machine ISBN 978-90. 8704-027-7 Summary archived 5 December 2008 at the Wayback Machine. Translated to English by Christine Steenberg. Quote from the summary. Using these formulas, a pupil could render the same subject or theme in a myriad of ways. For the mature author, this principle offered a set of tools to rework source texts into a new creation. In short, the quadripartite ratio offered the student or author a ready-made framework, whether for changing words or the transformation of entire texts. Since it concerned relatively mechanical procedures of adaptation that for the most part could be learned, the techniques concerned could be taught at school at a relatively early age, for example in the improvement of pupils' own writing. 4 Book 4, 21.29, pp.3035. 5 Institutio Oratoria, Volume I, Book I, Chapter 5, Paragraphs 6 and 38-41. And also in Book 6 Chapter 3. 6 Rhetorica ad Hernium. 7 The Forest of Rhetoric. Silva Rhetorici. Brigham Young. 8 Robert D. Ianni, Literature, Reading Fiction, Poetry, Drama and the Essay, 2nd edition, McGraw Hill, ISBN 0-07-557112-9, p. 451. 9 Bernard Marie Dupriez, 1991. A Dictionary of Literary Devices, Gradius, A.Z. University of Toronto Press. p. 213. ISBN 978-0-8020-6803-3. Archived from the original on 7 January 2014. Retrieved 31 May 2013. Dupriez, Bernard Marie, 1991. A Dictionary of Literary Devices, Gradius, A.Z. University of Toronto Press. p. 213. ISBN 978-0-8020-6803-3. Archived from the original on 2014-01. 07. 10 Kevin Wilson, Jennifer Warson, 2010. The Handbook of Business Writing, The Ultimate Guide to Style, Grammar, Usage, Punctuation, Construction, and Formatting. Abercrombie American MGMT. Arson. p. 224. ISBN 978-0-8144-1589-4. Archived from the original on 5 December 2013. 11 A. B. Stephen Cushman, Claire Kavanagh, Jahan Ramazani, Paul Ruza, 26 August 2012. The Princeton Encyclopedia of Poetry and Poetics, 4th edition. Princeton University Press. p. 647. ISBN 978-1-4008-4142-4. Archived from the original on 3 November 2013. 12 Shipley, Joseph T. 1943. Trope. Dictionary of World Literature, Criticism, Forms, Technique. Philosophical Library. p. 595. Archived from the original on 10 March 2016. 13 Kennedy et al., 2006 p. 4-5. 14 Quinn, 1999. p. 12. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. 15-carat Baltic 2008. P7. 16-carat Corbett and Connors, 1999. 62p. 17-carat Corbett and Connors, 1999. P64 to 65. 18-carat Corbett and Connors, 1999 P.69-70. 19-carat Corbett and Connors, 1999. 60p. Sources, edit. Baldrick, Chris. 2008. Oxford Dictionary of Literary Terms. Oxford University Press. New York. ISBN 978-0. 19-920827-2. Corbett, Edward P. J. and Connors, Robert J. 1999. Style and Statement. Oxford University Press. New York, Oxford. ISBN 0-19-511543-0. Kennedy, X.J. et al. 2006. The Longman Dictionary of Literary Terms, Vocabulary for the Informed Reader. Pearson, Longman. New York. ISBN 0-321-33194-X. Forsyth, Mark. 2014. The Elements of Eloquence. Barclay Publishing Group / Penguin Publishing. New York. ISBN 978-0-425-27618-1. Quinn, Edward. 1999. A Dictionary of Literary and Thematic Terms. Checkmark Books. New York. ISBN 0-8160-4394-9. Silver Rhetorica, The Forest of Rhetoric. Brigham Young University. External links, edit. Figure of Speech by theodiams.com. Categories, Figures of Speech Rhetoric. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF.